New comic book day is almost here, and you got a lot of comics to be thankful for. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the Pull List. It's my weekly series where I take a look at all the books coming out. I'll tell you which ones I'm most excited for. We'll talk about some I'm probably a little behind on, and we'll talk about some new series debuts and new collected editions hitting the market for this week in comics, Wednesday, November 26, 2025. This is the last new comic book day in the month of November. And it's not quite as stacked as weeks past, but there's still a lot of heavy hitters coming out to make sure you got a bunch of reading material for the long weekend. So let's dive in with the books at the top of the pile. These are the ones I'm most excited for in a given week based on how much I enjoyed the previous issue of the run. And we're going to start things off with DCKO issue number 2. DCKO. Who's writing DCKO? I want to say it's Josh Williamson and Scott Snyder, and I was right. Art on this one is by Javi Fernandez and Zermanico, who you may remember from the pages of Green Lantern, off and on with Jeremy Adams. Great artist. A couple of great artists, actually. Javi Fernandez is the one doing Absolute Martian Manhunter, if I remember correctly. Anyway, the point is DCKO, who is going to be the King Omega? Darkseid is coming back, and the only way to fight him is, well, to prove that you are the greatest in this current universe. And so basically all the superpowered beings were supposed to battle it out for this title of King Omega. And what was supposed to happen was that the super villains were going to kind of get locked in the Phantom Zone or a pocket dimension or whatever you want to call it. But that didn't quite happen, and well, calamity ensued. So there are some major players that are off the board already. Meanwhile, across all of the DC universe, we're getting these sort of 1v1 matchups of all the people who are fighting in this tournament. Like, I think Cyborg is fighting Swamp Thing in one of these issues. Anyway, let's not put the cart before the horse. DCKO number 2 for the next chapter of the main story. You got to tune in there. I will say, I think I said this last time. I was talking about DCKO, and this just feels like the idea on its head, like a Street Fighter style, Dragon Ball Z style tournament to determine who is going to fight the big bad. Sounds like something that shouldn't work, but man, the execution has been so amazing. It's working so well through one issue and a few tie-ins. Can't wait for the rest of it. DCKO number 2 at the top of my reading pile this week with a cover price of $5.99. Next up at the top of the pile is Absolute Batman issue number 14. Another Scott Snyder book at the top of the pile. Scott Snyder, again, I came under some fire for talking about how I feel like the big two just seems to be recycling the same names over and over again. And, you know, notwithstanding the fact that they're doing amazing work. And of course, Scott Snyder is one of those names. And I guess I got to eat my words a little bit, because no matter what my sentiments were, it may sound like I wasn't a fan of Scott Snyder. But bro, everything this man is doing is amazing. I just wonder how we share that spotlight with a bunch of other creators who are also doing great work. But Absolute Batman, if you've been following for the last 5-6 issues or so, has been dealing with Absolute Bane. So Batman and Bane have been on this collision course. We got the debut of Absolute Catwoman in the last issue. And honestly, I'm very excited for this Batman Catwoman team up showdown against Bane. But I'm even more excited for, you know, the debut of the Absolute Joker in issue 15. This is one of those series where it just feels like each issue is a level up from the last. And you're usually not getting that type of exciting stuff 14, 15 issues into a run. It's kind of already is what it is, but not the case for this one. So Absolute Batman, issue 14, also at the top of the pile. Cover price on that is $4.99. Next up, Ancestral Recall, issue number 4, my man Jordan Clark with Adigun Ilhan. This, I believe, was delayed from a couple weeks ago. So I talked about it then. You can look up that video. But the point is, Ancestral Recall about this dude named Melvin, who was kind of not estranged, separated from his wife, June. And, you know, they've been trying to find his way back to her. and uncovering this big, like, corporate greedy scheme and all the things. And so it's kind of the classic sci-fi trope of there being the evil corporation, kind of trying to keep society down. Well, Melvin has this power to recall any gift from any ancestral person. So this book, you get like, almost backdoor learning, because the learning is very much secondary to the overall plot of the book. But you get, these little lessons about different figures, real life figures from Black history that I have absolutely been loving. Ancestral Recall issue 4 is out this week. Cover price is $4.99. And the last book at the top of the pile this week, Feral, issue number 18. Yes, 2 consecutive months at the top of the pile. Feral, again, this is the zombie book with the cats. So there's a rabies outbreak, and these house cats have had to venture through the wild into a crazy cat lady's house, and now into a pet store that they thought might be a safe haven, a sanctuary. Turns out they found a whole hierarchy, a whole ecosystem of cats that were just straight up deranged and crazy. And so we're kind of at the climax of that, where somehow the doors to the pet store got open. And so now this pet store goes from oasis to all out madhouse. And the idea for, kind of saving this whole deal is taking over the pet store from the previous cats. I was going to say people, cats that were running the show. That does not seem like the greatest idea. I have to implore you though. If you are following this series, do not read the synopsis from the previews, because you will be spoiled. There is a detail that I have been spoiled on just from reading, the preview text that I'm a little annoyed by, but I'm excited that this book is a thing, and I'm still excited to see it all play out. Cover price on this is $3.99 for issue 18. And that's it. Those are the 4 books at the top of the pile, the ones I'm most excited for. They're waiting for me behind the counter at my LCS, Fight or Flight Comics in Raleigh, North Carolina, right inside the Triangle Town Center Mall, where, by the way, this Friday, this Black Friday, they're doing quite the sale. Quite the sale. Let me look this up so I can show it to you. Black Friday, we got dollar boxes. There's a bunch of dollar bins around the store. We do this at least once a year, and you can fill a short box for $100. So a short box generally will hold about 150 comics. So you're getting those comics for what, 75 cents a piece, something like that. That's a deal. That's quite a deal. Also, it'll be buy 3 items and get the 4th item free. You can mix and match anything in the store. Usually that buy 3, get 1 is reserved just for the graphic novels and hardcovers. Well, statues and all sorts of stuff you might be able to get a really good deal on. So check that out. Anyway, my bad, the camera died, but let's pick up where we left off and talk about some new series debuts that are on the radar for this week. These are, again, new series debuts, new jumping on points, new number 1s. I love it. It's kind of my favorite thing to talk about each week. We're going to start things off with Batman, Green Arrow, and The Question, Arcadia, issue number 1. This is a new Black Label title. It is written and drawn by a young man. You think I'd have my notes right here. Gabriel Hardman is writing and drawing this book, with colors by Romulo Fajardo and letters by Simon Boland. This basically is The Question teaming up with Green Arrow, kind of trying to basically... Okay, yeah. The Question teaming up... I was reading the solicit while I was talking to you. My bad. The Question and Green Arrow kind of team up to try to infiltrate and dismantle this human trafficking operation. And apparently Batman doesn't like the means that they're going with to do it. So interesting stuff there. What's got me interested is this variant cover, which is an old piece of promo art. It was a poster, I think, by Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz that was promoting some Batman, Green Arrow, and The Question annuals from back in the day. So it's a piece of art I've seen because I have the Green Arrow omnibus, and I'm just a big fan of Cowan and Sienkiewicz as a duo. It has nothing to do with this current series, except that it features all three characters, and it's a cool piece of art to have. And that's probably the reason I'll check out this series, although the premise sounds really interesting. I've just kind of sworn off Batman Black Label books in singles because I know it'll get collected, and I should probably just buy the hardcover outright. Anyway, $5.99 is cover price on that debut issue. Next up is the Infernal Hulk issue number 1. This being a brand new Incredible Hulk series, or kind of dovetailed from the last Incredible Hulk series by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein. I'm so out of the loop on what's going on with the Incredible Hulk, or I guess now he's Infernal. I don't know what this means. I'm behind on this. I would hope that this is a decent jumping on point, but it seems like you probably will want to have read at least, the Philip Kennedy Johnson run that came before this. It's kind of like Moon Knight by Jed MacKay. Like you could read the newest Moon Knight number 1, but probably want to go back and read those first 30 issues as well. Anyway, all that to say, I've heard nothing but great things about this Hulk run, especially with Nick Klein on art. So looks like you're in for a treat if that cover is any indication. Cover price on it is $4.99. Next up is Daredevil and the Punisher, The Devil's Trigger, issue number 1. This from Marvel Comics, of course, is written by Jimmy Palmiotti with art by Tommaso Bianchi, colors by Brian Valenza, who is my favorite colorist at Marvel Comics. I say that all the time, but it's true. A Daredevil Punisher team up is never something that I'm going to be mad at. And honestly, if I don't buy this or that Hulk book, there won't be any Marvel on my pull list this week. And that hasn't happened in quite some time. So I don't know. I'm trying to cut back and not keep buying all these new series, but it feels weird to not have Marvel on the list. Anyway, Daredevil and Punisher teaming up. Cover price on that is $4.99. And the last book on the radar this week from Keen Spot is Zor Saves Christmas, issue number 1. This is a one-shot by my man Potsy, Rob Pochik. And the artist is Michael Adams. Zor, if you did not read the original 4-issue miniseries, Zor is a magical teardrop that when this young lady loses her mom's ring, she cries, and this, teardrop kind of gets animated. And now Zor is traveling down the drain into the whole ecosystem of the drain. There's all these creatures and people in the drain system trying to retrieve this piece of jewelry for the little girl. So anyway, he did save the ring in the original 4-issue miniseries that you should check out. And now he's going to save Christmas somehow. 32-page one-shot Ringo nominated series, by the way. Very, very excited about that. Cover price is $5.99. And that's it. Those are the new series debuts that are on the radar. There are a couple of Christmas anthologies. There's a Vampirella holiday special. There's a Spawn's Universe Christmas special. There is a DC I Saw My Uncle Kissing Santa Claus special. So there's a lot going on for Christmas tie-in books. I'm trying to save money. Speaking of saving money, let's go ahead and hit up a quick budget check. Now, you guys know I try to stick to a $50 budget limit for each week of new comics. And for most of November, I have not hit that limit, or I have not stuck to that limit. I've exceeded it. So if I can save some money this week, it'll be a good thing, especially going into the dollar bin sale this weekend. So let's take a look. I've got 8 books on the list this week that'll bring me to a grand total out the door of $38.62. So it's not a bad week. It's not a bad week at all. But again, we've already had some heavy weeks in November. So all this savings is really just going to kind of bring down my surplus. Or is it a surplus or a deficit? It's a deficit because I spent too much. Anyway, let's get into the other books that are still in the box for me this week. These are the rest of my subscriptions at Fight or Flight Comics. Some of these I'm behind on, some of these I'm not. In fact, only one of these I'm behind on, and that is Detective Comics issue number 1103. I loved issue 1100, and that's what got me back interested in the Detective Comics by Tom Taylor. But I went right back to keeping it at the bottom of the pile. So I'll have to binge on DC Infinite and see what the merits of this series are. Cover price on that issue, though, is $4.99. Next up, Justice League Unlimited issue 13. The reason Detective Comics just hasn't been high on the list is because all the mainline stuff at DC has been really good. DCKO, Justice League Unlimited, Superman, all kind of telling the same story, pushing in one direction. This series follows Mr. Terrific and the Terrific 10, which are a bunch of superheroes, a bunch of versions of superheroes from across time. Like, for example, we got Tim Drake as Batman Beyond. We've got Electric Blue Superman, all displaced to try to deal with some of the calamities going on Earth right now while we gear up to battle the King Omega. So interesting stuff going on there for sure. I just like seeing Mr. Terrific in action. Cover price on issue 13 is $3.99. And the last book on my pull list in the box is Superman, issue number 32. I had just finished binge reading this whole Superman versus the Dark Legion saga. And again, that led into DCKO, which led into Superman trying to start the Bleeding Heart. I'm still one issue behind. I need to read issue 31 of Superman. But you know how it is once events start up. The tie-ins sometimes feel really important and sometimes feel like, I could have just read that on a recap page somewhere. I really enjoyed the Superman versus Superboy Prime stuff. I feel like Superboy Prime gives me a lot of the same humor as Deadpool, but in a more tolerable package is how that felt with that last story arc. What I will say, though, is Dan Mora has got to be the artist of the year. The way he uses panel composition and twisting things in the plane, I could be an art nerd for the rest of the show, but that'll be boring. Just know Superman is probably one of the best looking books on shelves, period. And that's a reason to buy it, even if it is a tie-in issue. Cover price on that is $4.99. And that's it. Those are all the books in my subscription box, but there is still one more segment of the show, one that I like to call Trade Waiting. So if you're not a Wednesday warrior like me, you're probably a more sensible reader and you just wait for stories to be collected and for someone like me to tell you whether or not it's good and worthy of being checked out. Whether that's at your local library or on Hoopla, or if you just go to the store and buy it. It's at Barnes & Noble, it's on Amazon, and it's at panelboundcomics.com, who are having an amazing 50% off sale early Black Friday. It's actually live right now. And if you use my discount code, you'll get even more off of your purchase. So anyway, let's talk about some new trades hitting the market this week, starting with my dog barking, and then starting with the X-Manhunt trade paperback. This was the event, the crossover that made me kind of rage quit the X-Men line earlier this year, or was that late last year? The From the Ashes era was short-lived for me because we did this crossover super early, and I've not given much of it a great chance since, though I've heard it's still been good. So I also hate the way they did the trade releases. X-Manhunt basically takes place in the middle of what would be volume 2 of all of these trades. And so in a way, it has felt like I cannot proceed with any of these series until I read X-Manhunt. And it's probably not even all that consequential. I will say some of what we saw in X-Manhunt absolutely led to some of what we saw in Hickman's Imperial event. So if there are some dots that you need to connect in the Marvel Universe, you probably want to start with this. Cover price on it is $24.99. Next up, Void Rivals, Volume 4, First Chosen. I can't tell you anything about Robert Kirkman's Void Rivals, except that it was a Trojan horse creator-owned title that secretly ushered in the Energon universe. And then once G.I. Joe and Transformers came out, people kind of stopped talking about this series, but I've heard it's still very good. You be the judge of that. Volume 4 is out this week. Cover price is $16.99. Speaking of Volume 4s, we've got Titans Volume 4. This, the John Layman series following up on Tom Taylor's Teen Titans run. And this arc is called Terminated. Again, I'm not reading this book. It's on Volume 4, so I feel like if you are even remotely interested in a Volume 4, you already know why and what the selling points are. But I guess this probably just shows there's not a whole lot of trades out this week. Cover price on that is $17.99. Next up, Marvel Rivals Infinity. This being a trade paperback compilation of a bunch of Marvel Rivals Infinity comics. Infinity comics are the vertical scrolling comics that you see in Marvel Unlimited. I will tell you this, and maybe it's just because my local comic shop is inside of a shopping mall. Kids come into the shop all the time. I don't mean any disrespect when I say kids, but they are literal children, like high school aged kids into like late teenager adults or whatever, come into the shop all the time looking for their favorite character from Marvel Rivals. Jeff had a moment. Emma Frost had a moment. There's been a whole lot of moments that have led people into shops. And this would be the book I'd recommend for them. Cover price on it is $15.99. Next up is Robin and Batman, Jason Todd, the hardcover. This by Jeff Lemire, I believe, and Dustin Nguyen. I read the original Robin and Batman, which was Batman and Dick Grayson. And it was more of an Alfred story. I really liked it. I love the family aspect that we get from a lot of Lemire stories. I'm excited for this follow-up. Black label title, cover price is $24.99. Like I said, that is a hardcover. And speaking of Tom Taylor, we were just talking about Tom Taylor. We got the 7 Secrets Deluxe hardcover by Tom Taylor, Danielle Dinaculo from Boom Studios. It's one of those big oversized hardcovers. I got my Once and Future and Something's Killing the Children right there. This will have a version that you can get in a slipcase, or you can just get the standalone hardcover for $59.99. Really cool series. I liked 7 Secrets. I was so new to comics when 7 Secrets was coming out. I quite honestly just bought it because there was a black kid on the cover, but I really enjoyed it. Like this whole forbidden child thing. It's been a while since I read it, so this hardcover will be fun to refresh my memory. Cover price on it, like I said, is $59.99 unless you want the slipcase version, which I think will cost you $79.99. But that's it. Those are all the collected editions I wanted to shout out for this week. Again, visit Panel Bound Comics if you want to get them for a great price and get up to 50% off on a bunch of other stuff as well. I will see you guys in another video soon, probably after the Thanksgiving holiday is over. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.